Hello, I'm MBX Toycat and welcome back to the video. Today I have some pretty big Minecraft Pocket Edition news to share with you to do a brand new update coming out for that version of the game before the end of the year. That's right, there's going to be 4 updates for the Pocket Edition in 2016 by the time it's all done, which is already a cool feat by itself, but this 4th update is not just going to be any old update, it's going to be the 1.0 full release update for the Pocket Edition. So if you're curious as to why they hadn't released this update for the PE before, the reason for that is because they wanted to have the end in there before they called it the official release, full version of the Pocket Edition, but that is happening before the end of the year and it's pretty cool, and today I'll be showing you as well as talking about this update. So hopefully you all do enjoy it. If you do like the video, like and let me know because it helps out the channel and lets know you do like these sorts of videos where I show you awesome stuff like the end islands and the end cities on Minecraft Pocket Edition. These are amazing to look at in any version, and the fact that they're here in the PE is really just mind-blowing to me because they are going to be officially released before the end of the year. And speaking of that, actually, let's mention the release date because that's the first thing anyone cares about. So if any update, when can I get my hands on it? So if you're on Android right now and you're part of the beta testing program, which anyone can sign up for, you can get the beta of this update, but I'm going to warn you right now, it runs very poorly on pretty much every device out there. So I have a really high-end Android smartphone and it's still getting about, we're averaging about 30, 40 right now, but it dips really far down when you get to these end islands. These have not been optimized yet, so I would recommend waiting a bit until they have done that, so they release it, because that's what the next month is mostly going to be spent doing, because lots of the features are in the game already, but optimizing them so they'll run on, these devices is going to take some time. So yeah, basically, if you're wondering about when the full version will be released, or if you're on Android, your iOS, Fire OS, any of the other devices where there is no beta, this will be released in December of 2016, or at least that's their current release date goal. They can't, they're not guaranteeing it, but they are going to say that's their goal. They want to have this update out before the end of the year, which is crazy cool if you ask me. So yeah, now that we've got the release date out of the way, let's talk about what this update contains. So it's going to contain basically, first of all, working IF enders. So IF enders will now point you to your nearest stronghold, which, speaking of that, they're not going to only be found in the villages now. You'll find them anywhere in your world. But if you were fortunate enough to have a world before this update, or if you start one as of this video, you can actually dig down from your village well, and then you can guarantee a stronghold. So yeah, there's a little advantage to players who have been playing for a while there, which I kind of like. And yeah, then you use the IF enders to open the Ender portal, and then you can go fight your Ender Dragon. So the Ender Dragon fight is the console Ender Dragon fight. That's the one they've decided to take, which I think is pretty cool. And once you defeat the Ender Dragon you don't really necessarily have to, but presumably you do. Once you defeat the Ender Dragon, you can come to these end islands. So you can either do that through the portals, which is the recommended way, or you can build over here. So or you bridge over here or do whatever, because it is about 1,000 blocks from the end main island where the Ender Dragon is found to over here. So once you get to these end islands, as you can see, you'll see lots of these structures, and these things are really cool just to look at because they are just a series of islands really heavily based on the whole, not the Farlands, the Skylands thing that everyone absolutely loves. It's just a bunch of floating islands in the sky made out of endstone. However, you'll often find these chorus plants along them, which again, not really necessarily too useful, but they are really stunning to look at. And then every now and then, it's quite rare. It took me about I think about 3-4 minutes to find, but that was flying around in creative. You'll find yourself some end cities, and then sometimes those end cities will contain end ships. So yeah, these are some of the biggest features from the PC that people have been wanting for a really long time, both on the Pocket Edition and on the console. Hopefully there's a similar thing in the console there, but here they are working in the game. So it's worth noting that these aren't just purely ported from the PC. There's a couple of major differences that you will want to know because first of all, some of the features from them don't actually work on the obviously don't actually work on the Pocket Edition yet, including the stained glass. So yeah, these are actually exclusive end cities in a way because they use regular glass. Like, look at this. This is a regular glass pane. It's meant to be dyed purple, I believe, but instead it's just regular glass. So yeah, they're slightly exclusive in that way, and the other way they're slightly exclusive is the fact that they don't have banners, because of course the Pocket Edition also doesn't have banners yet. So yeah, it's really interesting that they kind of jumped ahead and just decided to do this anyway, and they've ended up with this very kind of unique looking structure that I quite like. So yeah, as well as finding these, if you are lucky enough, I mean, it's not every entity, you'll eventually find yourself some end ships alongside of those. So those end ships will eventually contain elytras, and they're going to be another one of the big features in this update. So yeah, it seems like before the end of the year, at least hopefully, there is going to be elytras, there's going to be these end islands, etc. on all the platforms, which is something I'm really excited about. Something so big is now going to be fundamentally available for everyone, and I think that's pretty cool. So you might question, how is the Pocket Edition racing ahead and doing this already? Because I know that's going to be most people's first thoughts, like, okay, first of all, it's coming out soon, that's cool, looking forward to it. But wait a minute, how is the Pocket Edition within the series of, I think it's a month and a half they're going to be releasing this in, from the last updates to this one, how are they doing all of this in that time? So bear in mind, this update isn't going to be quite as big as most other ones. It is just the end update, really. There's a few small changes in there, to do with, you can see small changes on screen right now, There's a bunch of small changes that might interest you in this update, but it is mostly about just, oh yeah, there's going to be end islands and stuff. And I think the big way that they're saving time is because the Pocket Edition kind of takes things as a batch and then optimizes as a batch. It means that, instead of being like, okay, we're going to take all of the 1.9 features, instead they just take the entire end, and they don't have to do it in 2 separate phases like the console and the PC have. Instead, they can do it in this one giant update, and they can optimize it all at the same time. And that might not sound like it make too much sense, but the basic idea is if they add it all at once, rather than having to add half of it and then wait a year and then come back, I think it means they can do things faster. And evidently the Pocket Edition team is just racing ahead of the other versions of the game, which is, it's a good thing if you play the Pocket Edition. And I think it's a good sign for the, the other editions, because they do want to keep the versions, equal eventually. So yeah, 0.17.0, which by the way is just its beta name, the full release will be called 1.0, they have confirmed, is coming out within the next month or two for the Pocket Edition. It's going to bring end cities, end islands, end ships, all the cool stuff that you like to find from the end. And again, I just can't believe I'm seeing this on the Pocket Edition. I really want to figure this was happening so soon, and it's just a cool little thing you might all enjoy. So again, watch out for your frame rate if you do decide to install the beta, and even in the full release, I imagine there's going to be some issues, so like, be careful before you come to the end, because this is going to be the hardest Ender Dragon fight, because bear in mind, it's the harder Ender Dragon fight from the console anyway, and then you're trying to do this with touch controls. It's just, it's going to be more tricky, you're going to have a low frame rate. Prepare now if you have a Pocket Edition world, because otherwise, you'll die a little bit, and no one wants to die a little bit, or even a lot, really. So yeah, I hope you did all enjoy this video. Hopefully you learned something about something. If you did like it, like the video, let me know, because it helps out the channel, and lets know you do like these sorts of videos. Share if you really liked it, and subscribe if you're new around here, because I make videos like this one every single day on my channel, and if you subscribe, you'll see them daily on your homepage. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.